lungs can last. No, my lungs don't work. I can last like 5 seconds.
First time I took the parking test at Houston's, I was not in shape. I did wrong. Not in the pool though.
That's gross.
Wait, last year?
No, just a couple months ago.
Oh, you threw up a couple months ago?
Yeah, when
How
I
bad
took
is the test? What do you have to do?
Oh, it's just the lifeguard standard swim test, but I didn't.
Oh, like the
So
lab.
I didn't know I was testing that day, so I was kind of walking and driving. They just said they wanted to meet with me. I didn't know I was actually getting in the water.
That's awkward.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm not prepared for this.
Dang.
Okay, let's do this.
Okay, survey of cars in school parking lot based on origin of car. Disregard that is not a sentence. That is grammatically correct. So our goal is to see, is car origin and driver type independent? So this is why I said it'll help with independence a little bit, because this one shows it a little better.
Okay.
So we're going to look at American cars for students and teachers. We're not going to do like every single one of them because, well, you'll see why in just a second. So we're going to check it for American cars. So for students, $107 drive American-made cars. Out of the total number of students is 195. So we have 107 out of 195. And what percent does that give me?
Oh, it's not on. Okay.
I hate that when I start typing a whole bunch of stuff and it wasn't on.
44.
54.9%.
I didn't type.
Oh, I was like, where are you getting that number from?
No,
I mean, that was a pretty good guess, but
I was off like 10%.
that was a pretty good guess. But I thought you were reading off your calculator. I was confused.
Yeah, I was too, and then I realized this calculator wasn't open. All right, teachers or staff. 105 out of 164.
64%.
Okay, so what does that tell us?
That it's not independent.
Why?
Yeah, I need some
They're not the
clarification.
same.
So
So like we don't have to do
if the percentages are
Correct,
not
as
the
soon as you
same-
get one that's not.
Okay.
If the percentages are not the same, it's not independent.
Correct, because teachers are more likely to drive American-made cars than students.
Okay.
Okay.
So American cars are not independent. Or is the entire thing
You automatically, once you get one that's not, you can automatically assume none of them's going to be
So
independent.
the car origin and driver type is not
Okay.
independent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So teachers are more likely to drive American cars than students. So the events are not independent.
So since the answer since the question didn't say support with like your percentages, you just have to use the words. You just have to use the words basically.
Yeah, but you're pretty much going to have to show the percentages to see it. I mean, you're not just going to know that just by looking at it.
No, yeah, I know. I meant like in like the.
Oh, yeah,
question,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Since that's up there, that's up there.
Yeah. Well, and that would be, I mean, if this was like a short answer question, all that's going to be shown there. So it's going to kind of just
Okay.
be implied.
Okay.
The rule of thumb in this class / to the exam is that you want to give as much detail as possible. So then I'm going to also look at our marginal distribution. For American cars. So we're looking at the totals basically. And so it is 107 plus 105, okay, because that would be the total American-made cars. Okay, that's basically just the column that's not there because our marginal distributions are our totals. divided by the total number of staff and the total number of students. So 195 plus 164, which is going to be 212 divided by 359. And what percentage does that give us?
59.1%.
Yep. Okay.
So that would be 59.1% of the cars in the school parking lot are American made. Would that be?
Basically, yes, that's what it's saying.
Good job, guys.
There will be things we can see about independence with that later on, but we haven't gotten there yet, so it comes in a later section. Okay. Number 12. So when I say number 12, these are actually coming out of the book.
Okay.
Okay. So the second page has the actual questions that go with this, I think, on it.
It does.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So basically, an investigation compiled information about recent non-military plane crashes. The causes, to the extent that they could be determined, are summarized in the table. And so, I'm going to flip to the next page because, you know. Huh?
One of the reasons was sabotage. I'm glad that's not really called
Sabotage.
All right, so is it reasonable to conclude that the weather or mechanical failures caused only about 20% of plane crashes?
I guess we would have to do that.
Maybe.
Yes. Well, it says,
Let's see.
well,
But I
it
mean,
says 6
looking
and
at-
14.
Looking at
So,
it, like
is
all
it
of the things don't
reasonable
total
to
to
conclude that
100%.
Caused yes.
Maybe I'm looking at it too, like,
Well, not
Nope,
everything.
nope, it is simple.
but it's 20%.
This is a
from 6
section
and
that's called
14.
Don't Overthink.
Well, because weather is 6, mechanical failure is 14. So, yes.
Yes, and to get a little bit more in depth, the reason why is because each crash is assigned to only one category. Yeah.
Cool.
I think I understand.
I have questions about this table because if you add all of those percents together, it only totals to 71%.
Oh, I'm not ready to answer that just yet. You'll see why in just a second.
Okay.
Read the next question.
Oh, thanks.
Not a problem. So notice that it says, is it reasonable to conclude that the weather or mechanical failures? That implies that it's either or, not both
I
and.
still added together, but at least it was
Well,
still
you
20.
do add it together, but if it was and, technically what would be happening was it would be caused by weather and a mechanical failure.
Oh.
So it's assigned to only one category, so we can conclude that 20% of plane crashes were due to
that would be a different category.
Yes.
Than, like, both. This is just
Yeah.
either
Well,
or.
and
Okay.
it could end up being like, you know, that weather also was in effect when it was in sabotage, like that. It all kind of could
Okay.
play together, but these are assigning them to only one category.
Okay.
It's not accounting for the things that had multiple causes or, you know,
Okay.
whatever, heaven forbid. But
Yeah.
so then part B, and what percent of crashes were the causes not determined?
29%.
Okay, how'd you get that?
So I added all of the percents together. You get 71, and I subtracted that from 100.
Yep, so 100 minus, and then the add up of all of them, 40 plus 5 plus 6 plus 14 plus 6, which gives you 29%. So sometimes your table doesn't give you all the information. Don't just assume that those numbers add up to 100% unless it tells you like that there's a total column that's equal to 100. So we're going to create an appropriate display for the data. You could kind of do what you want, but I'm going to do a pie chart for this one just because there's not a ton of them that we'll get to do a pie chart for, so that way you get to see it. So these are already given to you as percentages, so we don't need to do any math other than just put the information into it. So, you know what? I'm going to do this over here where I have a little more space to write around it.
Okay, the thing I like about stats is I like that we use color.
Josh, do you like my circle?
All right, so the biggest chunk in, don't forget that not determined now needs to be included in this. Okay? Not determined is part of this. So it's like adding another thing into the caused part of the chart. Okay? So 40% is pilot error.
I don't trust
Stay in
pilots.
school longer.
My cousin passed his solo flight this past weekend.
Nice. Congrats, Dan.
Yeah. He was determined that he was going to be a pilot, and that's what he's been doing. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you're not gonna see me drive a pleasure plane. I can't even drive a car.
There's apparently some big thing that they cut your shirt tail off after you pass your
Yeah,
first.
I
I don't
saw,
understand
like,
that.
I-
Like several people did that this past weekend,
Apparently
and I was
it's
like,
because before they had something, they would pull on your shirt tail to tell you, to alert you of something. I
Oh.
can't remember, but I just saw it.
I keep trying to figure out what it is, and I
But
haven't
since
found
they
out.
don't do that anymore,
They do
they
what
just
now?
became a.
After you pass your first solo flight, they cut your shirt tail off. So like my cousin, they basically cut all the way up to like his shoulder blades off of his shirt. I was like, I hope he knew that ahead of time, because like I'd be really mad if it was like one of
a
my
nice
favorite
shirt,
shirts.
Yeah. I would be upset.
I don't know. It was kind of cool though. All right, human error was like 5%. These are not going to be perfect by any means.
Mine aren't either. Mine are pretty rough.
Weather is 6%. Oh no!
What?
My circle
Oh, no.
doesn't leave.
Your circle
Ah,
went
come
away.
back. Okay, got it back. Nope, nope. Mechanical failure was 14%. This is like not right, but it's fine. Sabotage was 6%.
Oh yes,
And
that's
then-
not gonna be 29% left. Mine does not have 21% left.
Yeah.
Oh, I messed this up.
Oh, my 6% aren't even the same.
This is why we don't do pie charts a lot.
Wait a minute.
This one is not determined. Good enough.
Yeah, that's more like 35%.
Yep, the same for mine.
You know, minor details.
Yeah.
I abbreviated mechanical.
No! No, Josh. Please tell me you at least put more than an NF.
I
No,
was
didn't.
gonna say.
I didn't.
I think mine.
That's what we were doing something in like algebra 2 the other day, and I was like, I said, I don't mind if you abbreviate things, but be very careful what you do. And they all kind of looked at the paper and they were like, oh. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I wrote it and I was like,
I was like, 5 letters, please.
Oh no.
I said no.
Wait, what
But
did
it's
you-
just there.
We were doing the different properties of like algebra.
Wait, so Josh, what did you?
Mechanical failure. Just guess
Oh.
looking. Thank you.
No, yeah. MF is the reason the plane
Oh.
went down.
There's always that one.
Okay. These next 4 problems deal with magnet schools. So in the book, it's problem 9, 10, 25, and 27. So
What's a magnet school?
It's like a smart people school.
it's like
Does it attract
a
them?
school that, yeah, basically it like, basically, yes, it like attracts the people that are like really good in like some area. Like there's some schools that are like a magnet school for science or for like math or whatever.
Like
They,
Booker
they
T.
just like
Yeah,
let
Booker
them
T
be
is
bad
one.
at every other subject.
I don't.
Well, no, I mean you kind of have to be
Not
like
what I mean.
generally good at like everything, but like excelling in one thing at least.
Okay, I was like, do they just?
Usually when you apply to go, you say, I want to go for the magnet program of fill in the blank.
Oh, okay.
And that's why.
That makes more sense.
Because, like, my cousin's going to a magnet school this
You're like,
year.
you're
She's going to
terrible
Booker
at
T
math,
for,
or
like,
you don't have
I
to
think
do
hers is, like, officially listed as STEM, but
I have a friend who goes to Booker T.
Women
I don't know what he's there for, but
okay. So, all these problems getting ready to follow go together. So, an article in the winter 2003 issue of Chance magazine reported on the Houston Independent School District's magnet schools programs. That was a mouthful. Of the 1,755 qualified applicants, 931 were accepted, 298 were waitlisted, and 526 were turned away for a lack of space. For the find the relative frequency distribution of the decision made and write a sentence describing it.
Ew. Well,
Okay.
That
Accept it.
last part,
Huh?
Write a sentence.
like, I know it's just one sentence, but it sounds like too much effort.
You might want to drop this class if you think one sentence is a lot of effort.
yeah, that science was definitely.
In the blanks.
Larry takes a lot.
As previously stated, there are a lot of unstated conclusion in this class. All right, so we're going to find the percentages, okay, the relative frequency distributions. So basically, we're taking each of these numbers that were given to us and dividing it by 1755. So for accepted, it's 931 divided by 1755.
I go 53.
Yeah, like 53.
Now, the book doesn't give you a table like this. You kind of just had to realize that's what it wanted you to do. But I gave you a nice little table.
We appreciate it.
Mainly because I didn't want to have to write them. All right, so then the next one for waitlisted is 298 out of 1755.
I got a good old.
Like
Like
17.0%.
Yeah. The runs out.
Okay, 17%. And then turned away, 526 out of 1755. 30%. Those add up to 100, so we're good to go. So a sentence describing this, I would say something like, of the applicants who applied, over half were accepted, and the other half was waitlisted or turned away.
Is it just me or does applicants who apply sound a little redundant?
No, it does. But I'm not an English teacher.
You wanna fix it, Josh? You go ahead.
No, that would take.
There's a reason I'm a math teacher.
There's a reason I'm not a teacher.
Because you're a child.
You're too young.
All right. The Chance article about the Houston Magnet Schools program described in Exercise 9 also indicated that 517 applicants were Black or Hispanic, 292 were Asian, and 946 were white. Summarize the relative frequency distribution of ethnicity with a sentence or two in context.
Ooh, or two. Are you gonna leave now, Josh?
I don't
The
know.
sentence or two dance together, that was just.
I got a hint for you. The sentence sounds almost exactly like the previous one.
What? Really?
All right, so with this one, any ideas on how we solve this one?
Yes,
we
the
just
same
do the
way
same
as the
thing
other
as
thing.
the other one, but with these numbers.
Okay. So,
Same number and different number.
Are we wrong?
no.
Yay.
So 517 out of 1755.
0.5%. You ain't gotta have the percent in there, don't you, Nathan?
Well, I mean, that's what it
What
is.
else is it gonna be? 29.5 bucks.
Oh, don't get up.
Well, you're stupid.
Too soon, Nathan. Too soon.
Oh, no, she has the trauma. I'm sorry.
PTSD from ducks.
Yeah, come on, Nathan. How could you be so insensitive?
Don't be a duck.
Too soon. Stop it.
All right, 292 out of 1755.
16.6%.
And 946.
53.9%.
Percent.
Yes, the percent is
Percent.
Or it could have been 3.9 cows.
Per chance.
See, that's a good one. I can tolerate that one.
Tolerate what?
Cows.
Oh.
Yes.
I like cows.
I'm getting a quarter of a cow next week.
You need to explain that real quick.
Which quarter of it?
I don't know,
Like
like
the
200
butt.
pounds of it.
Oh, okay, beef.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot of beef.
Yeah, you can't just say things like
Yeah,
that.
you're a quarter of a cow.
No, did you know what my class got me last year at graduation?
What?
They bought a cow in my name.
That's so cute. I love that.
Wait, so you own a cow now?
No, there's a cow in my name.
It has your name.
It like won't ever like it will never be taken to slaughter. Like it was like saved.
Oh, you
Oh.
saved a cow, basically.
That's so nice.
Aww.
Look at you.
Dang, what were you gonna
How do we beat that? By an actual
I was
cow.
gonna Kenny might kill you.
Guys, we saved 2 cows.
Yeah, there's this whole thing. I'd have to read it to you, but there's this like whole thing about what happens to the cow now. It's gonna basically make sure it's taken care
Is
of
it
for
gonna
life.
come
Pardon?
Upstate.
It's, no, it's
Yeah.
like-
But
it's,
literally this time.
it's literally like the pardon turkey, but like a cow.
Pretty much.
That's cool.
All right. So, anybody want to give a guess at the sentence?
Of the applicants who applied.
Of the applied applicants.
Of the applied.
Of the applied applicants who turned in the
Oh, it's not
application.
of the races that
Sorry.
Of the various races that applied, 29.5 were
Oh, yeah, I was about to write applicants again.
Various. Over half were white. Or had the ethnicity of white? I don't know.
Had the ethnicity of white.
I don't know. We're just gonna. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, we're just. And the other half were
Not
either
white.
Asian or Black Hispanic. Why they group the Black and Hispanic together? That's weird.
They didn't have enough room in the charter. So.
I don't know. I'm guessing they just didn't want to split it into another,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Too lazy.
or like into a fourth one, because they probably just wanted to keep them the same across the board.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So then, does everybody have this? I can go to the next one.
See. I
I forgot this is the
have this shirt.
Well, 4 of them are your homework, but
Oh.
We said we didn't have homework due tomorrow, right?
no.
When is it
But
due?
the calculus homework is due tomorrow,
This is June Monday.
I may like go ahead and do notes tomorrow for chapter 4, but like give y'all like Monday, since I probably won't be here in this class to like do this, so you can like work on it over the weekend / Monday.
Nice. Okay.
All right, so continuing this problem, the Chance magazine article described in exercise 9 further examine the impact of an applicant's ethnicity on the likelihood of admission to the Houston Independent School District Magnet Schools program.
Jeez.
Those data are summarized in the table below. What percent of all applicants were Asian?
16.6%.
Okay, how did you get that?
Because we had that in
Share with the class.
we had that in number 10.
Okay, so,
So 292 divided by 1755.
and it was 16 point what?
6.
Great.
Way to represent.
I'm so proud of you.
What percent of the students accepted were Asian?
So you would.
Whoa.
Okay, so that would be 110 over
17.
no
Wait,
Over
9.
9.
over
931.
931.
Yes.
Yep, because it's out of the ones that were accepted.
Nathan, where were you going?
So that's 11.8.
Sometimes.
He's already going through math right. You just have to say the
I was like,
word.
are you gonna finish your
I'm
sentence?
cool.
Probably not. What percent of Asians were accepted?
So that would be 110 over 292.
Yep.
37.7.
Yeah, Asians. Ooh.
What percent of all students were accepted?
So 931.
Mhm.
Yar.
Yes, 53%.
That's the year my great
Oh, you're right.
discovered the gold underneath the Roanoke.
What are you saying?
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know.
Josh, what
Josh
are you
is going
talking
on
about?
about it.
Couldn't tell you.
I like zoned you out, but then like I guess I just
Sorry
like
guys,
remembered you.
I was living for a second.
All right,
I'm
examine
lucid.
the table about ethnicity and acceptance for the Houston Independent School District's Magnet School program, shown in exercise 25. Does it appear that the admissions decisions are made independent of the applicant's ethnicity?
Independent.
Okay, so that means we have to do.
Man, I'm still trying to understand.
Okay, so my first thing would be refer back to number 9. Okay, into the table. Okay, where we had our percentages, we had 53% were accepted, 17% were waitlisted, and 30% were turned away. Okay, keep those in mind as we go. Okay, so I need the table. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna look at, for each ethnicity, how many of those were accepted out of the total for that ethnicity.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Okay. So basically, like letter C, that's what we're doing for all of them.
Okay, I was about to do it wrong.
So for Black or Hispanic, we would have 485 out of 517, which is what?
93.8%.
How much?
93.8.
Okay. All my percentages are in whole numbers, so that's why I'm like, wait a second.
Wait a minute.
All right. We already know the one for Asians. That was the 110 out of 292, which was the 37.7. And then,
I mean, yeah, okay. Wait, so that basically answers our question though, right? Because they're so different? Or no?
not yet.
Not yet, okay.
We need to know if it's independent of their ethnicity.
Okay.
We have to do one more thing.
Okay.
So then for white, that's going to be 336 out of 946.
33.5.
Okay.
I meant 35.5.
Well, what? But that's
Which
no
one is-
you.
Which one is it?
That's definitely 35.5.
You said you actually said like
He said 33. He did say
I
33.5.
definitely said 33, but it's definitely 35.
So the problem the problem with this problem is that it talks about admission decisions, not just accepted. So we want to also look at the turned away. Okay, waitlisted, that's no decision basically in terms of this. So we're looking at turned away. So we need to do the same thing for turned away. So that's going to be 32 out of 517, which is what?
6.2%.
Okay, and for this we would also be looking back at the percentages comparatively to what they were in number 10. Asian, 133 out of 292.
45.5.
And white is 359 out of 946.
37.9.
Okay, so based on this, then looking at it, are these things independent?
No.
No. Okay, so no, not independent.
Would they all have to be like matching to be independent?
Yeah, and we would want them comparatively to what we got in 9 and 10 for like in general as well. For it to be completely. Basically, we're looking at these to see if they match up with like the like percentages that are like turned away or accepted. But the thing that I would add to this is that most applicants, I'm just going to finish this so we don't have to start on here tomorrow. Most applicants were white, but the highest acceptance rate was black or Hispanic.